All right, I am fresh off of watching the Netflix live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, episode 1. I've only seen episode 1 so far, so I'm only going to really talk about that. And I'm just going to kind of rip the band-aid off right here. So if you want to click off this video or whatever, I'm just going to say my rating right here, right now. Personally, I feel like this is a 7, maybe 8-ish out of 10, like a low 8, like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for this first episode. Parts of it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like some of it, but I think for a majority, I liked most of it. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I liked more than I liked most of it, and there wasn't a ton that I disliked. Um, Overall, off of episode 1, the story seems to be, following the same story beats. Um, I like the first 10 minutes, in my opinion, are kind of perfect. It peters off a little bit towards the end of the episode, but it's still, in my opinion, it still holds up pretty well. There are a few points where I'm kind of like, what's going on here? And in parts of it feel like they like kind of forced some lines from the original cartoon and tried to shove it in here. To me, I think you should go out, you should watch this. You should watch it for yourself. But to me, it does kind of feel like there are certain lines that they're kind of shoving in here to like just have them in here because they were in the cartoon. And I don't like that. I would have almost preferred if you did something different, or said something different, rather than just like forcefully shoving things in here. So a lot of my issues have to do with parts of the writing, but then there's also parts of the writing that are good. Part of me feels like there's I mean, obviously not one person wrote this whole thing. But writers have a tough job. This is not all the writers' fault. I don't think this is any of their fault. But it's just part of the writing is like someone wrote it and knew what they were doing, and then there's like a little bits and pieces around in here where it's like someone didn't know what they were doing. Like for instance, and I'm gonna kind of get into spoiler territory right now, so just so you know. Warning for spoilers in episode 1. You should watch it. I recommend you watch it. So far, like I said, 7 to 8 out of 10. I'm enjoying it. I think if you liked the other series, if you like the cartoon, you're probably gonna like this. But yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. Spoilers for right now. You have my rating. I'm gonna get into spoilers right now. So first 10 minutes, I think, are pretty good. I love it. I love it. You see the gruesomeness. You see how the Fire Nation, attack the air nomads. And I like this little bit of extra flavor that they add in there. And I really liked that. Actually, this is one thing I really liked, is that it shows other nations actually celebrate the comet, because in the cartoon the comet's just the comet, right? Firebenders get powerful. There's no real expansion on the comet. But here, it's like, there's a comet festival. Everyone's celebrating. It's like it's like a little holiday that happens every 100 years. That's cool. I like that little addition. And it makes sense for the Fire Nation to be like, well, we're going to attack the Earth Kingdom. Or to say we're going to attack the Earth Kingdom, but instead we're actually going to attack where the next Avatar is. That makes sense. I like that. It's a good addition, and it just adds a little extra flavor where there wasn't any before. And obviously the scene of them fighting in the air temple, and it makes in this. I'm gonna be honest with you, this makes a lot more sense on how they killed all the air nomads, because it's the full force of the Fire Nation, people who tend to fight more often versus a peaceful nomadic people. And then that whole scene was cool. Was cool and excellent. You see people, airbenders doing their thing, which we don't see in the cartoon. That was nice to see. And then you see the ruthlessness of the firebenders, which was awesome. I loved seeing it, getting people burned alive. Oh, that was cool. I love that shit. The one problem I have about this scene, the one problem, and to me, this is where we get into the first issue. Well, actually, there's two issues in this kind of like beginning sequence for me personally. Is that I didn't like Aang kind of like just kind of telling people things or just like saying things to Appa. It makes sense because Appa's like his support pet. So to me, it makes sense. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it made sense to me. But one thing that didn't make sense is Monk Gyatso. I personally feel like Monk Gyatso got dragged a little bit. I know some people might like it, and if you like it, that's fine. You like what you like. I personally didn't like Monk Gyatso in this. I feel like he got dragged under the mud. I didn't like how he didn't try to go to bat for Aang. Like in the cartoon, he's like, I'm not going to let them separate us. But in this, he kind of just gave him up, I feel like. And to me, that was weird. That was weird. And maybe it's different because you have the whole narrative of we know the Fire Nation's going to attack. So to me, that was weird, but maybe that's a narrative change because of that. I still personally find it weird. If you don't, that's fine. Another thing I didn't like the fact that, because they're monks, right? They don't fight all the time, but they would know how to fight. I didn't like that Monk Gyatso didn't have a bigger last stand, in my personal opinion. I would have liked it if he had a bigger last stand. If he took out and knocked out a few more firebenders and Fire Nation people before what was his name? Fire Lord Sozin got to him. I would have liked that because you see he's like left there and there's no more firebenders around, because that would have really established that the airbenders are good as well. And to me, it just kind of felt like there was one who was putting up a great fight and she was doing great, but I just feel like Monk Gyatso probably should have done a little more, in my opinion. I feel like he should have done a little more. And then you get the whole scene of Aang going under the ice and all that and getting, trapped in this little bubble. That was cool. I like that. We saw the Avatar state. I thought that was pretty nice. And then we go to the Water Tribe, I believe. And he gets captured by the Water Tribe. Oh, we get the intro sequence, which was cool. It's a nice little intro sequence that's kind of different. I like that. Then we go into the Water Tribe. I love the way the Water Tribe looks. By the way, I think it looks nice. You see Katara trying to waterbend, because she's not a good waterbender right now. It doesn't matter, she's just trying to get it down. Sokka, to me, he lost the sexism, but for some reason he felt like a bigger asshole. Like, just in general, like when he made a certain remark to Aang. He made a remark to him like, "You've been gone for 100 years. You're weak. You're a coward." Like, oh damn, okay, so we lost the sexism, but he just gained a fucking asshole, just a fucking dickhead. He comes around by the end of the episode, but it's kind of like, what? And then we also see Iroh. Iroh was good. I liked Iroh. He kind of brought up tea a little too much. It's kind of like it kind of felt like the directors are like, bring up tea in every season. That's just a little, every season, in every scene. That's a little nitpick. Doesn't matter to me. Just something I picked up on. There was a specific, Zuko, by the way. I like Zuko in this. I think the actor and the writing for Zuko so far has been pretty freaking good. There was another scene in particular that I didn't like. I don't know if it's the writing or if it's the character acting or if it's the actress for Gran. Like the whole scene where she's like explaining, and this is where I feel like they kind of forced in some dialogue from the cartoon into the live action show, where she's like explaining, long ago. I mean, you get it. I get it. You want to have that narrative in there, but I feel like it could have been put there in a different way to make it not as. It just felt. It just kind of grinded my gears a little bit. Not maybe that's not the right phrase. It just kind of was off-putting. It didn't make the most sense for me. And it also didn't make the most sense of how she kind of just guessed he was the Avatar. It makes sense for her character. Because, you put two and two together. The last Airbender, there hasn't been another Avatar in 100 years. You kind of get the sense that if there is an Airbender out there, it's probably the Avatar. But I would have personally liked it if it was revealed instead of told, instead of Gran being like, "You're more than just the last Airbender, aren't you?" And then Aang kind of shadow confirming. He's like, he doesn't say anything, but he like runs off or something. So that I didn't like. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But I mean, otherwise, I think the acting and a lot of the writing is pretty spot on. I like Katara so far. Katara and Sokka. Sokka is not making as many jokes. He's kind of a more serious character in this. So he makes one joke that I did like. He's like it's like the Prince of Snow or some shit when he's in front of Zuko. I like that. That was to me, that was funny. That was the one part where I was laughing. Other than that, he didn't really make too many jokes, and I kind of like it because this show is trying to be a little bit more serious than the cartoon, which is okay. I actually also they put a little bit more respect on Sokka's name when he's fighting Zuko. He's not like a complete pushover. He knows how to fight a little bit, which was nice to see. Also airbending, I like the way airbending was used in this. You see Aang actually kind of like flying and floating down. He like grabs keys from the cell. So that was nice to see. It was nice to see airbending like used more for a utility purpose rather than pure combat or pure fighting ability. That was nice to see. I really enjoyed that. And then the other issue I had was kind of the boat scene. Where Aang is escaping Zuko and he's running away. I feel like that could have been. I mean, you can tell they spent most of their budget probably in the first 10 minutes, which is fine. Like that scene was good, and I feel like it was needed for this live action adaptation. But I feel like they could have done a little bit more on that boat. Because in the show, it's like a whole thing. Aang has to fight his way off. He's doing all these cool airbending tricks. You see him face off with Zuko. But in here, it's kind of like he just kind of flies away and they throw some fireballs at him. So to me, that I didn't like that. I feel like that could have been detailed a little bit more. But yeah, I just feel like that could have been detailed a little bit more. But the next thing that I do kind of like is when they kind of wrapped up 3 episodes in this one episode. So I feel like that's kind of going to be the tone of the show. But they do like probably maybe 3 to 4 episodes in one, and that'll be fine. It'll probably wrap it up just fine. I liked that when Aang went to the air temple, though. Back onto that point, I like when Aang went to the air temple. You see him get mad. You see him get frustrated. And I like that it's a combination of Monk Gyatso and kind of consoling him. Because, I mean, it makes more sense for Monk Gyatso to kind of calm his emotions. Because he just met Katara. Like, this is almost same day type of stuff. So it makes more narrative sense for Monkey Yatso to be the one that kind of calms his emotions and be like and calms him down a little bit. And then Kasara comes in and kind of consoles him and makes him feel better while he's crying. So, yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, this is 7, 8 out of 10. It has a few problems. It has a few problems with the writing, in my opinion. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid show, and I think it's going to hopefully keep delivering and be just like, you know, I think this is above average in my opinion. I don't think it's like a 10 out of 10, the best thing I've ever seen, but I think it adapts the cartoon in ways that are new and innovative while still having a few problems here or there, but that's about it. But go watch it for yourself. I think you should absolutely watch this for yourself to form your own opinions, because I think you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. At the end of the day, I like it. I'm still gonna watch it, and I'll probably keep doing reviews on this as I watch more episodes. But yeah, that's about it. Peace.